Welcome back to CBTV's Coen and Kerr. We've been very fortunate to have the candidates for the GOP nomination for the 28th District. That's Delegate Howell's, Speaker Howell's seat, and he is, of course, retiring this year. I would like to give the candidates such opportunity now with 2-minute closing remarks, and we'd start with Susan Stimson.
Thank you. I will just honestly say it was a privilege to be able to serve as the Falmouth District member of the Board of Supervisors and to be the chairman. It's a privilege to be a part of this process. I think that's what makes America great, you know, our representative democracy that we have. And again, I'll just go back to my point. As wonderful as it is, right now we're at a point where the disagreements feel so visceral that many of us just want to throw up our hands. You know, there's a void in politics. And if we do want to have a voice, then we have to get involved. And I decided that I'm willing to risk this and to put my name on the ballot because I know I'm not alone. I know that there are a lot of other people that feel the same way that I do. I want to be your voice. I want to represent you in Richmond in a way that you're not being represented now. The question is, how do you know that you can trust me? I have a record of keeping my word. The 4 years that I served on the board, 4 short years, we cut 9 taxes in 4 years. We jumped to #1 in job growth. That led to our earning a AAA bond rating. But not only that, we fast-tracked the transportation bond referendum projects and improved transportation even when the state wasn't providing the money that we needed for transportation. But going back to taxes, I believe each of us has a God-given right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Liberty, when your money is taken from you and you can't spend it the way you want, it's taken away. But I'm not also going to be just a voice in saying I'm pro-life. When I was on the Board of Supervisors, I fought for women and the unborn children. And I worked and did help stop abortion clinics in Stafford. I will fight just as vociferously in the House of Delegates as well. I hope to earn your vote, and I know that it is something that needs to be earned. I don't take it for granted. I have a record of keeping my word. Thank you.
Ms. Stimson, thank you very much. Appreciate your remarks. And I'd turn next to Mr. Mildy.
Sure, thank you, David. And thank you for having me. I would say to you that my opponents here, we've all served together. As a matter of fact, everything that you'll hear them talk about as an accomplishment, we did together. Except, and my tenure extends before Mrs. Stimson came on, and of course I serve now with Bob Thomas. If you want to know how I will represent you in Richmond, then look at how I've represented Stafford on the Board of Supervisors. The reason why the Acquired District residents have sent me back 3 times to the Board of Supervisors is because when I said I would do something, I did it. When I said I would solve the problem with Crow's Nest, I went out and did it. When I said I wanted to make open space a priority in Stafford County, we did it. When I said I wanted to keep government small and not raise taxes, we did that. When I said, I understand that you're sitting in traffic and that's your #1 issue in Stafford, we will get on this, and I did it with Mark Dudenheffer and Cord Sterling, and we made things happen. We went from a county that did not really do any transportation improvements to speak of to one that has done, we're pushing on $2 billion worth of projects now after 10 years. And you can see them all around you. I mentioned some earlier, but I'll mention a few I didn't mention. 4 lanes on Courthouse Road West, the Rappahannock River crossing, 2 more lanes heading across 95. There's just a lot of things we've gotten done for the residents of Stafford County. And making Stafford a competitor against Northern Virginia, frankly, in economic development. So if you want to see the results, if you want someone to go to Richmond and get things done for Stafford, then look at what I've done, and I think you'll decide that I might be the right choice for you. Thank you.
Mr. Mildy, thank you very much for your closing remarks. Mr. Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, David and Tom, for having us here today. And I want to especially thank the audience. Our democracy works because people tune in and they try to educate themselves about elections, and they go to the polls and they select the person that they believe to be the best representation for them. It's been an honor to be an elected member of the Stafford Board of Supervisors. We have made many of great accomplishments. It's the simple things from getting a pothole fixed to the big things like making sure our budget is as efficient as possible and it's getting the core services government done. That's truly an awesome honor to have entrusted to you by your constituents that you live with, and running for re-election and being re-elected is kind of a vote of confidence that you're on the right track. So it's always good to have that. We're all a very good conservative voice, like was said. We're pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, we're pro-fiscally conservative. Those are the things that matter most. But there are differences. I do bring the experience of a veteran to tackle some of those issues that you spoke of. Being a job creator, having to sign paychecks and sometimes not being able to sign your own paycheck and have that experience. And understand the bureaucracy and the regulations and all the different forms and taxes you have to go through to operate as a business. I'm going to bring that experience to Richmond on behalf of the residents of the district. We also need to make sure we're enforcing our immigration laws that exist on the books. There's not a huge role for the state government, but where there is a role, we need to make sure we're enforcing and helping with those issues at the federal level. My platform in Richmond will be that Virginia has a broken relationship with its cities, counties, and towns. There's an awful lot of regulations that do get pushed down that are unfunded, and there's not really been a strong voice in Richmond that raises their hand every single time and says, here's what you're going to do to your residents back home. Because when you make these decisions, it affects your local board of supervisors. Finally, in this race, character matters. I think I have the temperament and the skills to get the job done for the people of the district in Richmond. I believe that is the sole reason that Speaker Howe endorsed me, and I intend to carry on that legacy.
I want to thank you all very much. You've been outstanding guests. This is I want to borrow a phrase my grandfather used to use. It takes a lot of courage for somebody to put their names on a ballot. There's nothing quite like being a candidate. It almost is impossible to describe. Even if you go to a course and they teach you how to do it, there's nothing quite like being a candidate. And all of you have been candidates for office, and you are now going for a higher office, one with more demands, more scope. And I think we all should take our hats off to you for making that commitment. It means a great deal. And I can't, of course, endorse anybody in particular, but I wish you all luck. And I would, on that note, like to say also, as we close with a few remarks, that the primary that all these folks are running in, the one you'll need to go vote in, is on June the 13th. And none of them mentioned that, which I found it a bit interesting. But it's on June the 13th, that's a Tuesday, and it's a primary, and you can vote in any of your regular precincts in the 28th district. In fact, there's also a primary going on statewide in Virginia. So please turn out, and if you're going to be voting in the Republican primary, consider one of these three candidates. And I'd also thank our wonderful host here at the Stafford Regional Airport. It's a beautiful day at the airport. We've been watching a couple airplanes take off, and they've been doing coming back and taking off. They call those touch and goes. And so we've been very grateful for their hospitality and providing us space and assistance. And finally, we'd very much like to thank Licata Realty for their sponsorship of our show today. They're a great sponsor, and you really should give them a call if you're looking for a new place in the Fredericksburg region. And so on behalf of my co-host, Tom Coen, and myself, David Kerr, we'd like to thank you very much for tuning in to Coen and Kerr and our Meet the Candidates.
Good.